Okay, so what is a relative minor key? Does anyone know what a relative minor is? Anyone heard of that?
I've heard of it. Is it like
Is
C? A minor is the relative minor of C. Is it something to do with the complementary side of
Yeah.
things?
Basically, what you've just said there, they are the same scale. They've got
Right.
all the same sort of the same characteristics. They've got the same notes, but one's major and one's minor, but they contain the same notes. And there's a reason for this, because you might come across wait there. Why is it important? The reason why it's important is because you come across songs that are heavily weighted on minor chords, and then you're trying to work out what key you're in, and you're thinking, well, I only know major keys, so if you've got chords that are E minor to they got like E minor, D minor, and stuff like that, and it doesn't have any major chords, and then you work out, oh, it's in G major. Well, it might have the G major notes in it, but you would call it its relative minor rather than its major. Okay, so there's. I've not touched on it yet because I wanted you to all get used to a major scale family of chords. But now we've touched on that quite a lot, it should be easy to convert this into minor. Now it'll all unfold. So we got here, we'll just talk, instead of talking about families of chords, we're just going to talk out a basic scale, a C scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, so which one, Rich, did you say was the relative minor here?
A minor is the relative minor of
So
C.
which note would it be?
Would be the um. Oh yeah, you've
Yep.
got me on that one. Would it be the sixth?
Yeah, it would be the A. So basically what happens is, here there, let's start the scale from this point. So we're going to do the same scale but starting on an A. So here. Let's just see what's next in a second. Okay. So we're going to learn to play this scale. So it is the C. Can you see it's got no sharps and flats? So it is got the same. It's got the same characteristics of a C scale, but we're going to start it on an A, and it's going to give us a different sounding scale, but using the same notes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare it to the C major scale in a bit, so you can see how exactly the same it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute you all, and we're all going to, if you've got your guitars, just have a little go at this. So you're going to start, let me just zoom in on the actual scale so you can just see that. Okay, so we're going to start on the 5th string, which is here, and it's a 0, 2 and 3. So you're starting on the 5th string, and then the 2nd fret and the 3rd fret, so that's your A, B, C. A, B, C. You can already hear the minor qualities in it. And then on the 4th string you do the same frets, 0, 2 and 3, and that'll give you D, E and F. And on the 3rd string you've got the 0 and 2, which will give you the G and the A. So listening to the tone of that scale. You could strum an A minor chord at the start and at the end of it, so you can hear. You can hear the sort of solemnness of the scale. Okay, so I'm gonna show you. If anyone's struggling with that, just let me know. But what I want to do is show the same notes as a C major scale, just in a different starting point. Okay, so I'll compare it in a minute, but a reminder, I said this probably ages ago, do you know, in the early days, that most scales are within the major scale, just on a different starting note. So each starting note of that major scale is a different scale. So that is, do you remember I said the major scale is everything, pretty much? The major scale has got everything within it, and that's what I'm going to unlock over time and help you to understand. So if you just look at it on face value, the pattern here, you can see the pattern is exactly the same as they are both the same notes if you can just analyze it. But if you notice, I've got in red the root. So starting on if you look at this one here, that's your C major scale, which we'll play that in a bit. You see it starts on the red note, going up it. That would sound like this. Sounds like a happy major chord, but the same notes here, but starting on that open 5th string, that A. If you listen, A minor. Now it sounds like a major scale, but you can see, hopefully you can see when you compare them, they are exactly the same notes. So that's the sort of concept I want to get into your mind, that all the scales are within this major scale. Okay, so I want you to just practice the A minor scale as a fuller scale than what we did just previous. So you can see this is what we just done, but we're going to learn the little extensions on the 1st and 2nd string. So does anyone want to play this scale? Jimmy, do you want to give that a go? I've not said hello to you yet, so I just... are you okay?
Yeah, I got in a couple of minutes late.
Yeah.
All right.
Congratulations on the, you know.
Oh, cheers. It's not here yet. Still waiting. I need to finish my song first.
It's a bit of Tenacious D. Jimmy's got a little baby on the way, by the way, everyone. So, yeah, found out the other day. Go on, Jimmy. Let's have a listen. Excellent. And just strum an A minor chord when you've done that. Yep, so you can hear where it's centered around. All right, nice one. Brian, do you want to give that a go? Hey.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not as good on these scales as Jimmy.
Hey, it's all right. You don't worry about that. Lovely. Yeah, and then the 2nd string.
Oh.
3rd fret. That's it. And strum as an A minor now. So you can hear that's the scale that fits around it. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just have a listen to one more. Rich, did you want to give it a go? There'll be other scales to play, so I'll get round to hearing everyone, so don't worry. Oh, 3rd fret. Third. Drum an A minor chord for us. Okay, so you can hear it centers around that. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the same notes, but it's the exact same scale you've done, but you're going to start on this C. I want you to just ditch the first 2 notes, that A and that B, and start from this 3rd fret here, this C. The reason being is if you start on this A, even though that's in the scale, you will hear it as this. But I want you to hear it now starting from the C, so the 3rd fret, it should sound like, and going up exactly the same notes. Okay, let's have a little listen to that, Roddy, if you want to take it from the C. Love it.
Two.
3. Let's strum the C. And if you wanted to do the lower notes, you could, on your way back, you could go. And and then after you got to, the key to this is resolving on, starting on the C and always resolving. But you can do the deeper chords and come back to the C. Okay, let's have a listen. Les, do you want to unmute? Let's see if you can go from the C. And then strum a C chord. That's it. There. And you can see it gravitates around that. Okay, let's have a little mic. Sir.
Let's go.
See.
Down.
There you go, C, and then play a C chord. So you can hear when you make a mistake, it stands out like a sore thumb because your ears are telling you something's not right, which is good. It's good because if you were unaware of it, then, you know, it's hard to fix things. All right, so let's just have a little listen to Peter. You can all still keep practicing. We'll go back to the A minor one. So, Peter, if you play as an A minor chord and start on the 5th string. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was starting from A.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
Strum an A minor chord. Excellent, well done. Right, so let's move on a little bit. So, a C family of chords. So as Rich pointed out, if you were in a C family of chords, the relative minor is this A minor, the 6th chord, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's how you find the relative minor. It's always the 6th note of the scale. Okay. So what we're going to do is we start the C major family of chords. You see, C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, B diminished, but we're going to start it on the A minor. So there's one unique thing that needs to happen in this family of chords, and I don't know if I mentioned in the past that in a family of chords there's one important chord which drags you to its home. I don't know if I've said there's one chord which has its own elements, which is unlike every other chord. I don't know if anyone can remember which one chord it is. It's the 5th chord. If you remember, the 5th has to be a 7th. So see here on this 5th, it's a minor. Now when you turn this into a relative minor family of chords, this has to be, yeah, you can see here, the 5th chord pull is weak here. That's a weak pulling chord. How can we make it stronger? By turning that into a 7. So this relative minor family of chords, we have to, you don't always have to, but generally they always have a dominant. So what you'll do is when you're trying to recognize what key you're in, you'll find the dominant chord, and if it's got an A minor in it, you'll be like, oh right, well that doesn't make sense because that should be a major. Do you know, if you're in a major family of keys? But if that dominant chord drags you back to the 1 chord and you work out it's a minor, then there's a good chance you're in a minor key. Okay, so it's all, this dominant chord will play a big part in recognizing where you are in the future. It may seem a bit hazy what I've said now, but when we put it into practice. Okay, so we got a minor blues progression here in A minor. So here you can see if we're in, oh yeah, if we're in the relative A minor family of chords, I'm going to do a blues progression, which usually is a 1-4-5 in the blues. You play the 1 chord for a while, go to the 4th chord, back to the 1, and then you go to the 5th chord and then back to the 1. And you're going to hear how that sounds different to a major blues progression. Is this going over any people's heads? Because I can hear, I can see. Let me just go back here. Does everyone remember a C family of chords? Are you all familiar with that? Is that all right if you give us a thumbs up? If you say no if you're unsure of that. Yeah. Okay, so the C family of chords, they all belong to each other. Now the relative minor is always the 6th chord, so all we're doing is starting this family of chords.
Sorry, Dave.
Yeah.
Is that relative minor always the 6th chord? Is that on every single family of chords, or is that just the C?
No, it's on every single family of chords.
Okay.
So when we're in G, we'll look at G in a bit, and we'll look at what the 6th chord is there, and that will be the relative in that family.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm saying all this stuff, and you're probably a bit confused, but when we start playing it and putting it into practice, hopefully it'll twig a bit. All I'm saying is some songs heavily rely on minor chords, and it'd be wrong for you to think that's in a major key. Do you know what I mean? If you look at these, if you look at them chords, you wouldn't say that's in C major, even though the chords are pretty heavily weighted around C major. Because there's no major chord, it doesn't feel like a major chord. You'd have to call it a minor key. So you've got a major and a minor key basically, which have a major and a minor scale, and I have a major and a minor.
That 7th chord, give it away. If that was an E minor, that could possibly be the C.
It would, yeah. So let's say this is an E minor.
Yes.
For instance, it would still be in an A minor.
Oh, right.
In an A minor feel. You wouldn't call it a major. You see what I mean? Major's happy, and it's revolving around minor chords. Yeah. So you would have to call it its relative minor scale. So there's a major family of chords and there's a minor family of chords. That basically that, and they belong to each other. So C and A minor have the same family of chords. So let's just play it anyway, and hopefully by being... Go on, Roddy.
What I don't understand is why you have to call it a relative minor when you're actually trying to establish the key. Why not just say, well, it's a minor key?
Yeah.
Why do you have to say relative?
No, the reason being is when you look at your family of chords, here, if I look at C, there's 3 different minor chords.
Right.
So if you just say minor key,
yeah,
are you talking about the key from this position, the 2nd chord? Or are you talking about the minor key from this position?
Yeah, but why don't you just call it, it's an A minor key?
It's an A minor key, but this family of chords can also be related to the D minor. It would be called a Dorian minor key. So, and that's sort of shifting off it, but the fact is there's 3 different minor keys within this, and we're looking at the relative minor key because that's the most popular key. These 2 minor keys here are not very popular.
Okay, I take your word.
Is it the ones that sound better?
Yeah.
So basically, the relative minor will sound better than the other ones. So if you want to use a minor, go for that one because it'll sound better.
The relative minor is probably the 2nd most popular scale, besides like for families of chords. So the C, the major scale, is very popular. That's probably like 60% of songs. 70% of songs is in a major key. And then the relative minor, based on the 6th note of the major scale, lots and lots of songs relative minor, probably like 30% of songs. And then starting from different points of this family of chords give you different flavors of chord progressions. So The relative minor is the 6th degree. So when someone says minor key, generally, because it's the most popular, you will be talking about the 6th. So you'll say minor key, you'll just think it's the 6th because that's so popular. But there are actually other minor keys within it. So let's just put it into practice. Let's just play an A minor. So we'll do 4 bars of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. D minor now. Back to A minor. E7 or E minor. D minor, A minor to E7. A minor, let's start again. To D minor now. A minor. E7. D minor. A minor. E7. So you can hear the blues progression, but it's in a minor context. If we majored all these, let's just ignore the minor sign. Let's just play them as majors and we'll hear the blues progression. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, A major. Stay on A. To D major. A. To E. To D. A. E7. Hopefully you can hear with that progression it is happy. It's got a happy feel. And the minor progression is weighted around a minor sound. Even though it's the same sort of progression, it's bluesy. It has sort of the same chord changes but with a minor overtone. So that's why you wouldn't call this a C major scale. You'd be calling it an A minor scale. Yeah, it would be silly. There's nothing really to suggest C major to call it a major. You would have to call it minor. And you'll notice this when you start to look at songs that are heavily weighted on the minor. Another little opening riff of a little Oasis song is Importance of Being Idle. It's just an A minor to E7. It goes. It's weighted. It's like the resolve. Do you know when you're in a family of chords and you resolve? We talked about resolving, and you'd resolve on a C. Well, this has the same effect. When I'm ending on the A minor, it sounds resolved. Yeah. Okay, so let's just play that together. So the A minor, hit it once, duh, and then duh, 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 and then E7. Duh, 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 and then you got A minor, E7, A minor. So I don't know if you recognise that song. Michael, do you want to just play us that opening riff so I can hear that? And there's your resolve, your last chords, you resolve on an A minor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'd be calling that a minor sort of family of chords, a minor scale. Okay, nice one. These are things that you might just not have been aware of, or wondering why things start in a minor and you're calling it a major key. So in your own time, try and identify songs that gravitate towards a minor key. Just start being aware of it. Look at the first chord of your songs and then question it. Is that a major key or is that a minor key? Go on, Peter.
Black Magic Woman, Santana.
Oh, yeah. And do you know what? That's my example in a minute.
Yeah.
Well done. He's a mind reader. Okay.
the drugs don't work. Would that be?
Even though that sounds miserable, it starts on a C. All
It
this
does, yeah.
talk of getting older.
A minor.
C, that's your home. And
Yeah.
I'm literally not thinking about it sung depressingly, because you could have major chords that's a sung with a depression mode. It's got to be the chord's got to be a minor chord. Okay, so let's ask a question. What's the relative minor note in this G, Les? Les, if you unmute. So what's the note in this scale?
E.
E, yes. It is the E, because it's the 6th note of the major. This is your G major scale. Okay, and we're concentrating on the E being the root. Over time, you'll know that every one of these steps has its own scale, starting on a different point. That's further down the line. Okay, so here's your E relative minor scale. So I'm just working on the two most popular scales, the C and the G. Okay, I'm working out its relative minor. So C's relative to A minor. They got the same chord tones. And G is relative to E minor. Okay, so let's just work on that. You'll notice it's the same shape as the A minor one, but it's on the starting on the top string. So E minor chord, if you want to play it. Okay. If you're struggling with that, just let me know.
No, it just sounds very Spanish. The way.
Yeah. Well, it's a minor sort of.
Well,
Go on, Les. Let's
you
hear it.
You hear that sort of chord progression or the note progression in a lot of Spanish music.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, totally. That's why it's good for me to mention it, because you're going to start being aware of it now. You probably, it's probably just pass you by maybe. Okay, so I want to compare now. I want to compare when you look at the G major and the E minor. So this is your E minor, this is your G major scale. Just like we did a C major scale, it's going to sound like a major scale, but starting on whatever start note. So I'll play the E minor one. So it's like this. So that's the only reason that's bigger than the C is because it starts on the E and it's over. It's got more notes in it, just because it's on the 6th string. That's all. It's still the same scale on a different starting point. So let's have a listen to a few of you do that. Peter, do you want to play this?
Well, I'll try.
So just start from the top one. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Just sound a bit discordant, that's all.
Yeah, that's it.
Hang on.
And I don't know if anyone's noticed, but when you're talking about the key of G, that's the one with one sharp in it. C has got no sharps or flats. G has got one sharp. And if you notice, the only thing that's changed here, your Fs have changed to an F sharp. All these Fs have turned into F sharp. That's your one. Do you know when you talk about sharps and flats? If you just did a standard F on these, it would basically be the C scale. Okay, so that was great, that nice one. Roddy, you want to unmute? Let's have a listen.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yep. Somebody keep going.
No, it's fine. You can practice that on your own time. So that's great. That you've got the notes there. So okay, I'll just listen to one more, Michael, if you want to play that, and then end on an E minor chord. You know when you've done it, so you can hear the resolve. There, excellent. Okay, so that's your relative minor scale. Nice one. I'll hear one more. Brian, do you want to do that one? Your fingers on it, but you didn't pluck it. That's it.
Yeah.
No, fourth string.
Fourth string.
There you go. And then the third string. That's it. Then second string. Okay, great. Strum the E minor chord. Okay, great. Okay, so here's the same scale. You can see it's exactly the same notes, but just like we did with the C scale and the A minor scale, we just ditched the first two notes. I want you to start on the G here, that one. And I want you to hear this is the same scale notes as you just played, but starting from a different point. And this will give you a G major sound. So if you strum a G chord, it'd be like... So you can hear that's a G major scale, even though it's exactly the same notes. This is the concept I'm trying to get you to understand, Jimmy. If you play as a G chord first and then start on the G, the third fret.
Start with a G, please, Bob.
So I don't know if anyone can see within this. Can you see the pentatonic shape? So you got all these notes in a line here, and you got that there. You got this pentatonic shape within it. If you scrub out the F sharp and the C, and this F sharp and C, you can see a pentatonic shape within it. Is that a? I'll be identifying that a bit more in the future, but that's why everything resolves about this major scale, because the major and the minor pentatonic are within that we've worked on in the past as well. Okay, so let's have a little listen to Les. Let's see you play this one. I'll put the minor one there, so strum an E minor, sorry, and then play that. Then strum a G and play that. But Les, if I hear you play the G, so starting on this, play the G chord first. Start. Third fret. And strum a G chord. Rich, let's hear you. Excellent, Les. then strum a G chord. So I think it's just Peter now. Just do you want to play as the minor one, Peter? This first one. Well done, Rich. That's good. I mean, even if you're struggling to understand the concept and saying, this is an introduction to it. Over time, this will make sense. So strum an E minor chord. That's it. Start from this.
Okay.
The second fret there.
Yeah.
Second string now.
Yeah.
Oh. And then strum an E minor chord. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, so this is how the G minor chords, family of chords looks. You can see here G, A minor, B minor. So you got major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, and then you got your G is got one sharp, which is an F sharp. So this is something we've looked at quite a lot. Them chords all fit together. So if your song is heavily weighted on E minor, you would know that that was the relative minor family of chords. So you start here, and you might have a B minor in it, but it might be a B7 as well. So this thing changes. It can either be a B minor or a B7, but a lot of the time it is just a B7, a B minor. Sorry, a B7. So, okay, so you can see how, do you know when you recognise what key it's in, it'll be different, because in this one, you've got the second and third chord are both minors a tone apart. See that? And then this G family of chords, you got the fourth and fifth, which are tone apart majors, and that'll trace you back to the one chord. Yeah, do you remember that? So they're the ways to identify what key you're in. So the same thing happens in your minor family of chords, but it just shifts. So if you add two major, if it's heavily weighted on the majors and you see minor, and then you see two majors there, you can trace it back. I'm not going to go into that too much, but let's just try the minor blues progression now, but in the key of E minor. So if you were to solo over this, it would be the G major scale, but we'd be calling it E minor scale because it's the relative minor. All right, so is everyone all right with the B7? Yeah. Okay, let's do it together. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, E minor. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then A minor. Back to E minor. Then B7. A minor. E minor. And then B7. E minor, let's start again. A minor. E minor. B7, A minor, E minor to B7. I want to just try an experiment for this B7. Let's play a B minor, because that's in the key. It could be a B7 or a B minor. Let's just try it with a B minor. So get your B minor would be on your second fret as an A minor shape, or you could do the open B minor if you wish. Okay, let's try again. So E minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, E minor. A minor. Back to E minor. And then B minor now. A minor. E minor. And then B minor, E minor, still works great, that, doesn't it? It's not. To A minor now. Back to E minor. B minor. A minor. E minor. And then B minor. Resolving on E minor. Now you can hear that resolves. You can hear that's your first chord and it's a minor chord. So that tells you it's in a relative minor key. Okay, let's try it again but let's turn them all into major chords. So let's play an E major for 4 bars, an A major, and we'll play the B7. And let's hear what this progression sounds like as a happy key. Okay, so E major, you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. E major. A major. Back to E major. B7. To A major. E major. And B7. E major. A. Back to E major. B7. A major. E major. B7. And resolve on E major. So that's your home. That feels like we've come back home, and that was an E major. So I hope it is this something new to you guys, or is this a revelation, or yeah. What do you think about it, Roddy? You seem unsure.
I am very unsure. I get the fact that it sounds happy or sad, minor or major, absolutely clear as daylight.
And it's the same progression as well.
And it's the same progression, absolutely fine. The thing I'm struggling with is all this shit, basically.
Well, do you know what? Like, it's like a language, really. And it's like if I taught you a language, you'd struggle with it pronouncing the words, but you got to understand it takes a few.
I'm not despondent. What I'm doing is I'm trying to understand, and I'm not getting it yet.
Well, that's the thing. You might generally gather what I'm saying now, but it'll take a period of time for you to fully recognize it. So not every bit of theory clicks straight away. Sometimes I've been taught something at uni and it's took me a year later before that thing someone said to me clicked.
Yeah.
You know, because you've got an order.
It's all these rules, you know, A relative minor scale, and then C family chord, C major, and it's always the 6th, and then it's not the 6th, sometimes the 7th, and then I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No idea. I don't know what else going on.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah. All right, that's fine. That's fine. What will happen is you'll start playing songs and you'll start recognizing the weighted on the minor. You'll know that when you finish the song and it's on a minor chord, you'll be like, "Oh, that's a relative minor chord." And you'll probably play the same scale as you were playing before to solo over it, but you won't be calling it a G major. You'll be calling it its E minor. Even though it's the same, it's got the same sort of contents of notes.
I understand that, and that's important to me because it's simple. That is when it finishes, the song finishes, that last note where it finishes on is kind of a telltale sign, if you like.
Yeah, and it's only if that feels like it's resolved. Only if you play it and it resolves. Sometimes you could play a chord and it's unresolved, so that won't really tell you your key. Sometimes when you play it and it resolves, it feels like you've come home.
Yes, I get that.
It's a major or a minor.
That I get.
If you're jamming with someone, you wouldn't say, "Oh, we're in G major," you know, when you're playing this E minor chord. You would say we're in E minor scale. You know, you wouldn't call it a G major scale, even though it's exactly the same, like same notes. you would be calling it a minor scale.
Okay.
So a good way of, because we worked on what a G major contents has on a C major. C major has no sharps and flats. G major has one sharp. So I think it's easier to go at it in seeing what its relative major and minor is, rather than me going from scratch. This is a minor scale, and you might not relate it to the G. Because now you know what a G is, it's easy for me to point out these little adjustments, and then you've got your minor scale. Yeah. So it might take me a few goes of explaining exactly what I've just explained to you. But
put it into context. We obviously it takes a few years to actually get this and soak it all in and bring it into and understand it. We're trying to cram it into a few hours.
But you've got to take from this that I'm introducing you to it.
Yeah,
I'm not like trying to sink that knowledge.
I'm soaking it up like a sponge, mate.
Yeah,
I'm loving it. Because obviously it's important to me to understand.
And you'll only really understand it when you're going through your songs. You practice on regular, and you'll be like, "Oh, I can see now that's." And you'll be calling it a minor key. You won't be calling it a major key anymore.
Yeah, I think
because a lot of you like to play a song, the strumming, and then you like to have a little solo. So and you want to work out what the scale is.
Yeah,
so I think a lot of guitarists get to that stage.
Yeah, I understand. That's why it's important to understand. If you do want a solo, you need to know where they are. Otherwise, you're playing the wrong ones.
It's not the pentatonic scale.
Yeah, totally. All right, so we're going to have a look at Black Magic Woman. Let's try and identify what key it might be in. So if you were to look at, if we were to see that, if you were to see this G minor and A minor, they're two minor chords a tone apart. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
If they're two minor chords a tone apart, they would be your second and third of a key, the major key. So what key would they belong to if we're talking major here? If we're talking its major key.
Would it be F?
It would be F, yeah. Because you got F, G minor, A minor, you know, your major, minor, minor, major, major. It would be F. But you can see there's no F in sight here. That sounded like there's no F in end to this crap. There's no F in sight here. And if you notice, the first chord is a D minor.
Yeah, that's
and the end chord is so the weight of the song gravitates on that minor pull.
Is that the relative minor of F, Dave? D minor 7.
Well, let's have a look at the major scales here. So you can see here in the flat key F, look at the sixth note in that F.
D.
It's D, and that would be a D minor chord.
Yeah.
If you were to stack up the chords, so D minor. So yeah, it is the same qualities as, where's that gone? It is the same qualities as F, but you wouldn't communicate with anyone by saying we're in the key of F. That's what I'm getting at. You would say we're in D minor, which is the same notes as F, which has got one flat, a B flat. So over time, when we're doing these theory lessons, all we'll ever really do in these theory lessons is to do with families of chords, scales, and rhythms. We'll just be constantly looking at that and pulling the whole picture together. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of things to take in. So let's have a little go at this. If you don't know the seventh chord, just play a D minor, straight D minor. So your G minor is going to be barring on the third fret as an E minor shape. So that's it. Okay, let's go from the D minor. We're going to do it very slow. So D minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, D minor. And then A minor. Back to D minor for 2 full bars. And then a G minor now. Then it's D minor for 1 bar, A7, D minor, stop. And you can see in brackets I've got 3 beats in brackets because it goes 1, 2, 3. You know, you stop on 1, 1, 2, 3, 4 is nothing. So here you've got an A minor and an A7. So if you notice, the A minor would be the 5th chord in here. So D, E, so D, E, F, G, A. And you've got away with an A minor and an A7 because the 5th chord can camille into either one of them in your relative minor key. Because this A7 has a bigger pull. So sometimes they get the 5th chord. It's a bit weaker, that A minor, so they 7 it, and it gives it that big pull it does in the major key, that 5th chord. Okay, let's do that one more time. 1, 2. I'll sing the pickup line. So I've got a black magic woman. I've got a black magic woman. I got a black magic woman, got me so blind I can see that she's a black magic woman. She's trying to make a devil out of me. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. D minor again. So you got that little gap in there that a bit of singing happens. All right. So you can see now, if I was to say we're in F major, it would seem a bit funny now. Now you know that a minor scale exists. You would say it's in D minor because you worked out this G minor, A minor would be the 2nd and 3rd in F, and then you realise, oh yeah, it gravitates round D minor, and D minor is the 6th chord in F. You can work that out simply. F, G, A, B flat, C. You know, you can work up it to find out the 6th. D minor is your 6th. All right, I'm going to have to leave it at that because I do have a session at 7. But does anyone want to comment on anything there or ask any questions? Michael, how have you found that?
Yeah, probably the most challenging session yet for me, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Just concept-wise, but good, yeah. A lot to think about.
It's sort of blown it all out of the water about the major, everything being the major.
Yeah,
It is. Everything revolves around that, but then you've got to look at it in different lights. That's going to be the hard. Once you can manipulate looking at it from all different angles and at different starting points, and you get used to that fact, it opens up the floodgates.
Really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, nice. So, and if you've got any questions during the week, I'll set you some homework. Give it, and it'll address everything on here. And then you just keep asking me questions. You know, I always answer. I always get round to answering you. Brian, has that made any sense?
Yeah, I agree with Michael. I mean, up until this lesson, I've been following it. This one has blown my mind, to be honest. I didn't expect anything like this tonight, but it's the next step in understanding the theory of music, really.
Yeah, it is. It is. And if I was to explain to you this at the start, it would have been. It's going over a bit of your heads now, but it would have totally bamboozled.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So,
but it's still good. I mean, don't get me wrong.
And we will work on this. We'll really get to grips with it, and it'll be nothing to you. It'll just you'll understand. There'll become a point where we'll just do more recognising of keys, and there'll be minor keys or majors, and you'll just be able to identify it. So yeah. Okay, Roddy.
Well, very quickly, I just wanted to say, like the others, this is the most difficult lesson yet, and I just think maybe because I'm older, I don't retain it as much. But just because it's 2 weeks in between, it's kind of how much have I lost in my head from last time. So I don't know. Maybe I should have the old notes in front of me to look at the C family of chords or whatever. But yeah.
Well, what we could do is we could have a recap over some of the early stuff. Maybe in the next lesson, like go over the scales again.
Well, maybe not spend too much money on it, time on it, because basically, time is money. The point, and we all want to get our money's worth. But the point is, maybe just a 2-minute recap of what's essential to move on. That's all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's it's and that's why I like to get your feedback at the end and see where you are. So I'll listen back to what you're saying, and the next session could be like a revision session. Do you know what I mean? To just help you tie what we've done here with everything we've done in the past.
Absolutely.
Try and put it together.
Absolutely.
There always comes a point where people feel they need that. Go on, Les, what you're saying.
Well, I'm learning Spanish at the moment, and hola.
Hola.
That's what I do know. Hola.
But obviously, there are certain words in Spanish that are very similar to words in English that actually don't mean the same thing, like regression or regreso. Regression means you're moving backwards, whereas in Spanish it means return. Yeah, and basically, I think to understand it, you have to regreso every so often to actually build or stabilize the foundation from which you're working from. And I'm at the point now where I need a snorkel to breathe. So
I think we'll get to a point where we'll just be looking at music and being practical with it, and then delving back into the bits of theory we've done. I think that might be a good angle to go at. So yeah, thanks for your feedback, everyone. I mean, that's why I do feedback at the end. It's not, I don't look for anyone to blow me trumpet. I like to hear what anyone's saying.
Yeah.
And I always make notes of how I need to angle the next lessons. So it's valuable to me because I don't know what's going on in your head. You could all
Note one, Roddy's a pain in the arse. Don't let him talk.
Oh yeah, I always write that.
I think one thing for me that would really help is saying how the things sound. You know, like when you say, "Oh, this is happy, this is sad." There's no context for a lot of the kind of like, "This is the relative minor." Well, what does that sound like compared to its major? Does that sound, does that sound well? Does that sound good?
I did the blues progression in a minor key with the same chords we did it in a major. So you can hear it's the same structure, but one was happy and one was... Listen, I'm going to have to go because it's gone 7 and it's not good to start late.
Yo, guys, arrivederci.
Yeah.
Catch you later. Cheers for that.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.